An example of a behavioral habit, ums, uhs, and ums. I'm not going to do the whole thing. You can go to 7stepreset.com/live. That's my landing page for this series that I'm doing. It'll be with the prior clips. 12-minute exercise, you can walk through it, but here's the short version. And so the first step is you have to know why you do the habit. Why do you do it? In the first, most things you could tie back with the hunter-gatherer, that we do them for safety. Well, usually the reason why people do it is because as a kid, when they were asked a question in school, they looked up and the teacher said the answer's not on the ceiling. That was kind of embarrassing for them. And they started saying, because it holds the teacher at bay while they come up with the answer. And you do come up with the answer because a network of neurons is doing the searching. What people don't realize is that verbalizing that slows down the network of neurons because it's processing noise now instead of just looking for the answers. You're better off having a silent pause. So we teach the silent pause. And I'm not talking about a person chooses to say I'm talking about the habitual ones that they don't even know that they're doing. You can stop those. 10-minute exercise, they're gone. You won't notice the result until the next day or two. First, you see awareness, and then you start noticing, and you can stop yourself, and then they're eliminated. It takes about a week for them to be completely gone, as long as you practice 2 or 3 minutes a day for 3 or 4 days, because the neuroplasticity happens. Remember, it's not knowledge. The dog doesn't sit because you tell him to sit. The dog sits because you've conditioned that behavior. Same thing with saying ums. Why do you want to change it? If you don't have a reason to change it, it's going to be harder for you to change that habit. I'd rather see you work on something that you do want to do, because at least you're going to have the stick-to-itiveness. And it doesn't take a lot of stick-to-itiveness. You just have to care enough to, let me say it this way. These processes show you the door. They open the door. You still have to walk through. If you don't have enough desire to walk through, then you won't have the change. If it's not because the processes don't work, it's just because it's not important to you at the time. And then we intentionally add a pause. So if you think about what we've done, we first had to come up with why we do it, and that creates some cognitive dissonance that doesn't apply anymore. You can do a narrative and just intentionally add the pause. Then you leverage the pause, you create emphasis. So now it's not just a pause, we're creating some emphasis. We're creating some emotion for the words that follow. We're thinking about how do we want to convey this emotion. And then we do a new commentary. So these three here, poor example of deep practice. It's very shallow. It's not deep practice, it's shallow. But uhs and ums are so simple. That's why I can do it in a 10-minute exercise. And the reason why we do it 3 times, the same reason why you tell a dog to sit multiple times. You tell him to stay multiple times, because you have to reinforce that habit pattern. And then we do a picture swap. So we use, this is like when the person's training the dog and put the hand up, stay, stay. What you're doing is a picture of you getting ready to say and you swap it out immediately with the picture of your goal, something having to do with that why. Why are you wanting to do it? Again, I'm not giving you the whole thing here, but it'll be on that website, 7stepreset.com/live, underneath the main area, and you'll see the clips from past talks. And then you practice daily. So the first thing that's going to happen, like, it takes neuroplasticity a day or two to start taking place, because the neural pathways are literally realigning. My synapses is moving from unused pathways to help the new pathway. And this happens overnight primarily. It happens during the day too, but when you're sleeping, it's much stronger. So the awareness happens first, and then you'll be able to do the redirect, and pretty soon you'll be eliminating. In less than a week, the uhs and ums can be gone.